Visit Pokemon Card Market and buy Pokemon cards from base set up to latest evolution set with best prices, secured system and easy handling. Only for European players. How's it going, guys? Once again, welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. In today's video, we'll be looking at the deck for the standard format, and this is the Mega Aerodactyl-EX. So I think this is a 5th Mega deck in a row for the Mega Evolution series of the decks that I actually decide to build and publish with the latest Sun and Moon set. Mega Aerodactyl is a promo version of the card, so it can be purchased only in real life from the Mega Aerodactyl box. So if you're not familiar with the deck, you're gonna get Mega Aerodactyl, Jumbo Mega Aerodactyl, Aerodactyl-EX, Spirit Link, and I think 8 booster packs. I'm not sure if that product is still available around the world, but when it was, I think it cost like 29 bucks or something like that. Anyway, Rogue Drill Dive for 110 with 3 energies. One of them needs to be Fighting and 2 Colorless energies or 1 Double Colorless energy. This attack will do 10 more damage counters to each benched Pokemon, both your and your opponents, so you don't have to apply weakness and resistance for the benched Pokemon. Weaknesses, of course, ×2 to the lighting, resistance -20 to the fightings, because it's a flying Pokemon, and 1 retreat cost, which is still nice. Retreat for 1, always good. Overall, Mega Aerodactyl is the only Pokemon that actually gonna attack in this build. I was also thinking about maybe taking 1 Tauros GX, but without fighting Fury Belt. I simply don't like it because 180 damage counters can be one-hit knocked out, but 220, it's not that easy. I mean, maybe Darkrai can one-hit knock out him, Galeo GX can one-hit knock out him, but overall any other Pokemons will have a hard time to one-hit 220. But anyways, I don't like it still, because I just want to play with the Mega Evolution decks. 4-3 line of the Aerodactyl and Mega Aerodactyl is the main attacker in this build. We have some backup support cards, like a Mr. Mime who can prevent damage down to our benched Pokemons. We have 1 Oranguru with the Instruct, so we can draw cards to have 3 in our hand. 2 copies of Shaymin for the setup, of course, and 1 King Hoopa, so we can scan the ring and search deck for 3 EXs. I also like the fact with the Mr. Mime, because I can start with the Mr. Mime instead of the Shaymin or Hoopa. So I have 8 basic Pokemons and 6 of them to start with. I actually have 9 basic Pokemons, and if I can start with Mr. Mime, Aerodactyl, or Oranguru, I'm gonna be fine. It's still better to start with the Shaymin or Hoopa. Overall, 12 Pokemons, 37 training cards, and 11 energies in total. Let's take a look at some item cards in this build. Decide to go with 1 copy of Escape Rope, simply because in this game, and with this deck, I'm not going to be able to one-hit knock out anything, especially, I mean, I can one-hit knock out maybe Shaymin-EX with the Strong Energy and Double Colorless energy, because Shaymin also have resistance -20, so Strong Energy is very important for the Rogue Drill Dive. But on the other side, striking for 130, and with Professor Kukui maybe for 150, it's not going to be even enough to knock out 170 HP EX Pokemons. But with 2 Rogue Drill Dives per turn, in turns, we can simply have that Lysandre for something on our opponent bench, and we can then go for the knockout maybe with 150 with Professor Kukui. Of course, if we force him to play something with Escape Rope. But this is the reason why I also like the Escape Rope, the fact that I can simply switch my Mega Aerodactyl from the active position with 1 of my benched Mega Aerodactyls, so I can simply continue going with the Rogue Drill Dive for that second turn and have a full HP Mega Aerodactyl in play. So Escape Rope can also help us against Glacians, for example, so we can avoid that Crystal Ray. And that's also the reason why it's important to have it. On the other hand, I'm running only 2 copies of Mega Turbos in this build. That's the reason, because I'm running only 3 basic fighting energies and 4 strong energies to increase the damage that I can do with my Mega Aerodactyl. 1 Professor's Letter always welcome. That's the fact that I actually have only 2 Mega Turbos and 3 basic fighting energies. So if I can hit Professor's Letter, I can simply search my deck for basic energies and throw them out with my Ultra Ball. Special Charge is very important for this build, simply because I'm running 8 special energies and I really need them, so being able to have energy flow with special charge, it's very important. Same as the Super Rod, because this is the deck with only 4 tree line of the Aerodactyl and Mega Aerodactyl, so being able to recycle those 2 Pokemons is very important. 4 copies of Trainers Mails featuring 4 Ultra Balls and 4 V Seekers, as always. Very, very important. Best consistency, you really want to have it, so there we go. 4-4-4 line of these 3 cards is, I think that's staple in any deck with 4-4-4 line these days. Stadium decision was Parallel City. Even I was thinking about maybe Silent Lab, but then I can't have my Mr. Mime and Oranguru. But Silent Lab would be nice with this build, especially to stop decks like Volcanion-EX. But with Parallel City I can simply clear some trash from my bench after I set up like Hoopa and Shaymin's. And with the Delinquent I can also have opportunity to discard some of the cards from my opponent's hand and also Stadium. Delinquent can be very deadly, especially if your opponent stays down to 3 cards and you simply Delinquent him. But 2 or 1 card simply the same, especially if you know that he has something like, let's say, Sycamore or V Seeker in his hand. Hex Maniac ×1, simply to counter those Volcanions, to be able to shut down Vileplumes, important card of course, even good against Greninja breaks. Single Lysandre to switch some of one of opponent bench Pokemon with his or her active Pokemon. 3 copies of N. 1 copy of Olympia, so I can have free switch. Even if I have 1 retreat cost, I still run Olympia. Sometimes you can find yourself in a position that you are asleep or paralyzed and you simply cannot escape from that position, so Olympia is a good one. But even Espeon GX, for example, can cause a lot of problems with Confuse, so Olympia makes a lot of sense. It can heal 3 damage counters and it can be helpful to switch down to the benched Pokemon. 1 Pokemon Ranger, you really know that Pokemon Ranger is must-have versus Glacian-EX. Professor Kukui is here to add 20 more damage counters and to be able to drop 2 more cards, so I kind of like it. For Professor Sycamore's this card hand drop 7 cards, 1 copy of Skyla, so I can search my deck for a training card, put it into my hand and shuffle my deck afterward. Sometimes Skyla is very useful, but sometimes I feel like teammates is much better, especially when I get knockout. I can search my deck for any 2 cards, which is very powerful, but again, knocking out your Mega Aerodactyl from your opponent's side is not that easy because it's 210 HP Pokemon. Still, I'm running also 3 copies of Aerodactyl Spirit Links, so I can evolve without losing my turn. Very important. 1 copy of Float Stone, so I can have free retreat with 1 of my Pokemons with the Float Stone attached to it, and 11 energies in total. 4 of them are going to be Strong Energies for extra 20 damage with my Mega Aerodactyl, 4 Double Course Energies, and 3 regular basic fighting energy cards. Of course, if you're looking for any of these cards, you can find them on tcgcastle.com. With TCG Center 5 code, you can get 5% discount on your first purchase, so make sure to check the video description. Also, if you're looking to trade your old bulk for the upcoming Sun and Moon Guardian Racing set, you can do that. You can find all the instructions in my video description, and it's available worldwide. So even if you're from the Europe or from the United States or whatever you are located, you can see Australia, for example, you can trade your bulk for the sealed Sun and Moon 2 expansion, so I simply recommend you to check that deal in my video description. So let's do 1 game versus Volcanion-EX so you can see this deck in action. So I hope you guys gonna enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos, so see you in the game. Alright, so let's start this game by starting first, and let's take a look at opening hand. No Aerodactyl, unfortunately not even Oranguru or some of the supporter cards like Shaymin-EX or Hoopa, which means 1 extra card for my opponent. Still have some trouble fighting basic Pokemon. Alright, again same thing. Hope it's gonna be a little bit better. Again, 4 extra cards, or 3 so far for my opponent, but I have End sitting in my hand, so it's not gonna be a big deal for him to drop those extra cards. Alright, so let's see this flying beast in action. I kind of like the Aerodactyl from the Fates Collide. It's a very good deck. In my opinion, very good deck, especially if there is Battle Compressor, for example, in standard format. But it's not. So, Trainers Mail. For the Float Stone, I don't know. I might better grab something like a Lysandre, just in case if I hit with the Trainer's Mail something like Ultra Ball. But that's not gonna be the case. That's not gonna be the case, so time to attach double Course Energy in play, and unfortunately 2 copies of Trainer's Mails has been discarded in this way. So more than that, I think this is gonna be it for now. I can set up Shaymin for 1, but I don't see point why should I actually do that. On the other side, next turn I can have my Fighting Energy attached from the hand. Then I can Mega Evolve and set up Shaymin for maybe 2 or 3 cards. It will depend on the top deck. So on the other side, Volcanion-EX, as long as I can limit him from being able to use Steam Ups, I'm gonna be just perfectly fine. Okay, there's also a Rough Seas. Which means he can heal damage counters from all of his Pokemons in play. 4 Volcanions already, alright, this is gorgeous. Look at this moment on my opponent bench. This is the one from the Steam Siege, this is the promo one, yep. Kinda like more those promos than the original arts, not sure why. So only 1 Fire Energy so far attached, and there's a Shaymin-EX which is gonna be for 2. If I want to one-hit knock on his Shaymin, I'm gonna need Strong Energy attached to my Mega Aerodactyl, because this attack does 10 to all benched Pokemons, of course, but Rock Drill Dive can go for 110, Strong Energy 130, so it's not that bad. Overall, it's not that bad. So my turn. Alright, that's interesting. Time to Mega Evolve, time to set up only for 2. I don't like setup for only 2 cards. I'm not sure why. But it's really painful. Trainer's Mail maybe for Ultra Ball or just for the Delinquent. None of these cards are actually good at this moment. So I might just go with a V Seeker for N. Really not sure why, but I somehow don't want to discard so many viable resources. On the other side, I didn't find anything good again. For me right now is still good thing, and the fact that he actually don't have 2 energies attached to none of his Volcanions in play. Of course, Rough Seas will just easily heal the damage counters from the field. The reason why I didn't want to set up my Parallel City yet in play is just because I really don't want to set up it yet. I really want to have 2 Shaymin set up on my bench so I can discard them with the Parallel City and later just recycle them back with the Super Rod. But there's also a Sky Field and 2 energies attached down to his Volcanion, and there's an Ultra Ball probably for another Shaymin-EX. Right now things start to be a little bit heated. Just a little bit. Another Shaymin-EX set up for 5. I only have 1 attacker in play, which means if he can find somehow 3 Steam Ups and 1 more energy attachment and switch, then he can easily knock out my Mega Aerodactyl. But I hope that's not gonna happen, simply because that's a tons of cards that needs to be found, and that's a lot of energy cards in 1 turn. Of course, with the energy retrieval, you can simply recycle them. Oh, there's a Team Flare Grunt. Who would expect to see Team Flare Grunt? Personally, I wouldn't. And finally something good as a top deck. Finally something good as a top deck. Time to use my Shaymin-EX. Set up for 2, and finally there's more good cards coming. Let me see. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he had actually 6 Pokemons on the bench. I'm gonna need to strike twice those Shaymins, so let's just better keep that Pearl City for now in play. And let's just simply attack with Rock Drill Dive for 130 and put 10 damage counters to all of those Shaymins and of course to all of my Pokemons in play. I'm gonna take 2 prizes, which is gonna be Ultra Ball and Oranguru, kind of like both of these cards. So if I want to go for 1-hit knockout, I'm gonna need 160 damage counters. 160, so 130 with the with the Strong Energy and with the Professor Kukui 150, not gonna be enough for the knockout. On the other side, and 130, 140. Actually 130, he didn't attach Fighting Fury Bell to the active Volcanion, so still he's gonna need... still my opponent will need 3 steam-ups in order to perform a 1-hit knockout against my Mega Aerodactyl, because I have 210 HP and that's not that easy to do. So 1 energy retrieval can actually do the job for him. Actually no, he had only 1 fire energy in his discard pile. So that was the first steam up in play, and this is the double chorus energy discardment. There's a Float Stone. If I actually survive this turn, I'm probably gonna knock out his Volcanion-EX at the active spot, and that's gonna be it. But I need to be patient for now. He only played 1 steam up, which means that he can go for 160 max. Combat Blaze. 20 for each of my Pokemons in play. Oh, so I survived 160. Okay, that's fine. 130, 150. Right now I can go for 150, which is still not enough for the knockout, but it's gonna be enough after I actually play first my Ultra Ball for Ranger and Delinquent. It's gonna be for another Aerodactyl. Then I'm gonna set up my Hoopa, which is gonna be for nothing. Then I'm gonna play my Oranguru Instruct. I really need that Professor Kukui. Oh boy. To risk or not risk? Somehow I feel it's not worth. I mean, 130, 100... I mean, I need Mega Turbo, guys, so... 130, 150... 170 is with Professor Kukui, but of course then I need to get my Mega Turbo. If I miss it, I'm gonna be in problem. But no risk, no race. Yeah, didn't get it. Didn't get it, which means that he can knock me out next turn easily with one of his attackers in play. So I think I'm gonna just retreat my Aerodactyl to one of my other Aerodactyls. And I'm gonna pass. Yeah, it was very close. Only 2 Mega Turbos played in this build, so that's the reason why it's not that easy to hit them. But still, if I was able to perform Mega Turbo, I would be okay. On the other side, 1 steam up with Power Heater is gonna be enough for the knockout. It's gonna be exactly enough for the knockout. 150, but there's a V-Seeker, and it's kind of risky for that Sycamore because he's gonna go... Oh no, for the Lysandre again. Okay. 28 cards. Can he find energy in his hand? I guess he can. So there's a Power Heater for just a 20. And of course 2 energies are going to be attached to his benched Volcanions, but he only had 1 in a discard pile. And right now I actually feel how is a great time to play that Pearl City. Cut my bench down to 3. So I'm going to discard Hoopa. I'm going to discard Shaymin. I'm going to discard another Shaymin. I'm going to discard one of my Aerodactyls with a 10 damage counters. Also, my opponent needs to discard some of his Pokemons. That's okay, perfectly fine. Time to play that Sycamore. Time to grab 7 new cards. Okay, so I have enough with double course energy for the knockout. But first I'm gonna use Ultra Ball. I'm gonna discard some of the resources in my discard pile. Yeah, I need Mega Aerodactyl, that's for sure, but I also need that Spirit Link. Speaking about Spirit Link, I'm gonna get one next turn, so not a big deal. Right now I just need to focus, knocks out his Volcanion, and put 10 damage counters to all Pokemons in play. Of course, I could just simply Mega Evolve this turn, which would also be the good play. Again, decided not to do it because then I would just lose my Mega Aerodactyl in the active position. There's a X. I'm gonna go down to 3 cards. I still have Oranguru, so I hope I can find something like a Super Rod. Oh, look at this, Super Rod. That's interesting. That Super Rod is gonna be a big deal. Especially because I'm gonna recycle back my Shaymin and my Hoopa. Okay, I'm knocked out, but he can't play his Volcanion hit with the active Volcanion next turn. There's a Super Rod. There's a Float Stone. And a Trainers Mail. For Escape Rope. Nah, I don't like that. Instruct for 2. Another V-Seeker. Well, I simply need to start apply some pressure, so I'm gonna just use my V-Seeker. And I'm gonna go with my Professor Sycamore for 7, but that means only one thing. I'm out with my V-Seekers for this game. Unfortunately, I didn't even find what I was looking for. Yeah, his hand looks very big, and I simply need to help him with Escape Rope. Help him or not to help him, I simply need to use Escape Rope so I can Mega Evolve. Well, I started pretty well, but the lack of the Mega Turbo and Spirit Link actually puts me in a very uncomfortable position right now, but still, not over. There's a Fisherman, which means this turn there's not going to be Lysandre, but that all speak about how bad my opponent hand actually has. So 4 V-Seekers for him in a discard pile, same for B applies, 4 V-Seekers in my discard pile. But in order to do the damage next turn, he simply needs to switch. And if he misses opportunity to switch, that's not going to be good for him. Alright, so finally something good for me. Finally something good, and since he have a very big hand, I'm gonna just add him down to 3 cards. I might help him, I might not help him, I really don't know, but at least I managed to find a Hex Maniac, which is at least something good. 1 Mega Turbo, time to play it. And time to use Rock Drill Dive, so 130. 10 damage counters to all Pokemons in play. Let's see what he can do. I mean, I have Hex Maniac for next turn, so I'm gonna be fine. If I survive this turn without taking any damage counters, it's okay, but of course he needs to switch. In this case, he'd decide to retreat. And I still can't knock out this Volcanion. There's Energy Retrieval, which means there's gonna be 6 more damage counters. That's 190 plus 10, that's 200. So he needs 3 energies to simply destroy my Mega Aerodactyl. Will there be 3 energies? Hope there's not gonna be 3 energies. That's the second one. And there's a third one. So my Mega Aerodactyl is knocked out. I wish I could simply have one more turn. So I'm depending on the top deck right now. How crazy is that? It's very crazy. And my top deck is an Ultra Ball, which means that I still have chance, because I'm gonna be able to find that Shaymin. And there's a Max Elixir. I'm gonna be able to Ultra Ball Shaymin and set up for 6, but still I need Strong Energy and I need Professor Kukui, which is impossible to get. I'm gonna need also Hex Maniac, but I'm gonna be forced to discard the Hex Maniac, so I need to count how many energies my opponent has in his discard pile. 4 of them, 7, 8, 9 in total in play, 8 cards remaining. I don't even have access to end because 3 ends in my discard pile. Only have 2 Sycamores remaining and 1 Mega Turbo, so it's even the question, will I be able to... Oh, what a top deck! A top deck Hoopa-EX. This is gonna be Hoopa for win, I guess. This is gonna be my friend's Hoopa for the win, I guess, because I have that Hex Maniac available in my hand. But still Lysandre will do the job. Still Lysandre will do the job for my opponent. There's a Strong Energy as the top deck, so... I'm gonna search a little bit more. I'm gonna Ultra Ball. So I can set up Shaymin for 4. And I need one of these 2 cards. Either way, I'm gonna hit double Colorless Energy or Mega Turbo. Any of these 2 are good. I even have Lysandre available right now in my hand. But I can't perform double knockout anyways. So it's all about this Hex Maniac this turn. So Rock Drill Dive, 110, 30 to everyone. My opponent can max strike for 130 this turn, which means that my Mega Aerodactyl is going to be perfectly fine. But the question is, can he get the access to the Lysandre? Yes, he can. So he had the Lysandre in his hand for the last knockout against my Shaymin-EX, and unfortunately that's going to be it. Was very close. If I was not forced to play my Shaymin, I would probably win this game. But I didn't have any option. If the top deck was a double Colorless Energy instead of the Hoopa, then the game would be over in my favor, I guess. But the top deck was Hoopa, and I was able to dig through my deck and find all the resources that I actually need. But the Lysandre at the end actually brings the victory for my opponent, so that's the GG.